Peter the Grape. So we talked about how Catherine the Grape she's goddamn German. She's a German Pole, which, fine. Be a German Pole. Be a German Pole who learned French. But how you going to say you run the goddamn Russians? You weren't even born to be an American president. You got to be born on this soil. If you're not born on this soil, you can't be our president. Arnold Schwarzenegger probably one of the greatest fucking presidents we ever had, but he wasn't born on this soil. So, sorry, Arnold. Them's the rules. Them's the rules. And they make sense, too. If you're born on this soil, you'll have an eternal love for this place if you like the place. And if you're born on another soil, then you'll have dual loyalties. You'll say, well, shit, do I really love Sweden or Germany or South Africa, or do I love Colorado? And it's like, man, we're all earthlings. Just love yourself, love everybody as you'd want to be loved yourself. The golden rule. Peter the Grape's father was a Muscovite. So these Muscovites keep on trying to conquer Kiev. Muscovite Russians are different than the fucking Kievan Russes. And actually, they're all Swedish Vikings. Goddamn Ivan the Terrible, he went ahead and goddamn leveled Novgorod. Novgorod is the father of the Russes. If you want to believe that them Spanish Vikings, those Oleg, Igor, Olga motherfuckers, that goddamn Rurik, the Rurik dynasty, the beginning of the Rurik dynasty is a guy named Rurik. He's a Swedish Viking. So these Swedish Vikings and these Muscovites, they keep on... So anyways, Peter the Grape, his father was a Muscovite, his mother was a Tartar. Not, kind of like tartar sauce, a tartar, a tater, not tater, but tartar. Not tartar, but a tater, an elderberry. So your mother, Peter the Grape's father's was a Muscovite. His mother was a Tartar. So his mother was a hamster, and his father smelt of elderberries. You cheesemongering motherfuckers. So Peter the Grape, his father was a Muscovite. His mother was a Tartar. Don't even tell me any differently. And then Catherine the fucking Grape, she was a goddamn, a Pole. A German Pole who spoke French. May 27th, 1703, Peter the Grape is going to take the Nyenskans fortress, a Swedish fortress. Look at these motherfucking Swedish Vikings. If they're not goddamn taken, when the Russians aren't raping the Ukrainians, they're raping the Swedes. The Swedes ruled Petersburg before the Russians stole it. So Peter the Grape, when he goes to build Petersburg, he's going to have a lot of dead Ukrainians. It's built on the blood, on the backs of the Ukrainians. Tens of thousands of conscripted peasants died building Skank Petersburg. So Skank Petersburg, Peter the Grape is, they took the fortress, a Swedish fortress, to build Petersburg, the Nyenskans fortress. So they're taking the Swedes' shit, they're taking the Ukrainian shit, they're taking the Poland shit, they're taking the Drevlian shit. They're just taxing and fucking people over. It's like, goddamn, can't you motherfucking Ruski rat bastard fuckers go get a fucking job and leave us Ukrainians alone? How many Ukrainians had to die just to get Petersburg, Skank Petersburg, fucking built? So, since the bloody Ukrainians was built for Petersburg, then that means that we should have little Ukraine. There should be a little Ukraine somewhere in Petersburg. Peter took over Nyenskans, a Swedish fortress built at the mouth of the Neva River in 1611, which is later called in German land. Interesting. In German land, which was inhabited by Finnic tribes of Ingryans, a small town of Nien grew up around it. So he stole this shit. He stole this. Well, they stole it first. What? The Finnic tribe of Ingryans? It was in German land. Maybe they all got along. Maybe the goddamn Finnics and the Swedes and the Slovenes and the Novgorod Slavs and the Eastern Slavs. Maybe they all got along. And the Polans and the Drevlians. Maybe they all got along. Can't we all just get along? Maybe they were until goddamn Peter the Grape pulled his fucking bullshit, his Ivan the Terrible bullshit. Peter the Grape built a new fortress called Peter and Paul Fortress. Oh, that's great. The Russian Bastille. Peter the Grape went ahead and got himself a Russian Bastille. You know who they threw? They threw Kropotkin. The Kropotkin, they threw him in the Russian Bastille. He had to escape the prison in 1876. Other inhabitants of the Russian Bastille, Joseph Broz Tito, Mikhail Bakunin, and Fyodor Dostoevsky, and Leon Trotsky. I bet Fyodor Dostoevsky wouldn't be so fucking dark and dreary and fucked up if he didn't get thrown in the, Peter and Paul fortress, the Russian Bastille. Dostoevsky, he got the socialism beat out of him. He was going to be a communist. He's going to be a socialist. But then you're going to have Peter the Grape is going to throw Dostoevsky in this Peter and Paul fortress, which he used the Swedish fortress. So they robbed the Swedes, right? Just stealing Peter to pay Paul. That's what Peter and Paul fortress is. Basically, they just took Nyenskans fortress to, pay for the Peter and Paul fortress. Motherfuckers. Imperial title of Peter the Great was fallen by the grace of God, the most excellent and great sovereign emperor, Pyotr Alexeyevich, the ruler of all the Russias, of Moscow, of Kiev, of Vladimir, that's a city, Vladimir, of Novgorod, Tsar of Kazan, Tsar of Astrakhan, Tsar of Siberia, sovereign of Pskov. This is why Ivan IV killed Ivan V, because of the Battle of Pskov. Ivan the Terrible was a terrible fucking battletician. He lost the Battle of Pskov because he didn't put Ivan V in charge. Ivan V knew the fucking, goddamn terrain. He knew what the fuck was going on. The great prince of the Novgorod lower lands. This is, when you think about who are the Russian peoples, this is motherfucking Peter the Great trying to pretend that all these people are the Russians. All these people are the Russians, then that means the Russians came from all fucking walks of life and shit. All these people are not Peter the Grape, who his goddamn father's a Muscovite. So this is just Moscow trying to enforce their will. Ivan the Terrible was from fucking Moscow. And then his mother's a Tartar. So how much of a Russian is he? If his mother's a Tartar, then how big of a Russian is he? Does he even think he's a Russian at all? He's the ruler of all the Russias. But it didn't say he is a Russian. He's just saying he's the Tsar of the Russias. So it's like, I'm the, king of all the Russia's land, all the Russian lands. Moscow, Kiev, Vladimir, Novgorod, Tsar of Kazan, Tsar of Astrakhan, Tsar of Siberia, sovereign of Pskov, great prince of Smolensk, of Tver, of Ugorsk, of Perm, of Vyaka of Bulgaria, another sovereign and great prince of the Novgorod lower lands, of Chernigov, of Ryazan, of Rostov, of Yaroslavl, of Belozersk, of Eudora, of Kandia. He's just making shit up at this point. He's just making he's just like, I'm just going to create nations. Maybe later on they'll Kandia, the sovereign of all the northern lands, the sovereign of the Iberian lands, of the Karthlinian and Georgian kings, of the Kabardan lands, of the Circassian and mountain princes, and many other states and lands, western and eastern here and there, and the successor and sovereign and ruler. 3 ways you could beat the soldier: get deserters. You could get the soldiers to surrender, you could kill them, or you can get them to desert. So that humanitarian corridor is actually brilliant. It's a way that you could get the soldiers to desert. Just get a humanitarian corridor. The socialism was beat out of Dostoevsky. In that prison that Peter the Great built in Petersburg, the Peter and Paul Gulag, you also had, Mikhail Buchanan and Leon Trotsky. I guess it's a rite of passage to get thrown in the Gulag, huh? In motherfucking Russia. That's how fucking cold and terrible it is in Russia. And goddamn, in fucking Russia, it's fucking shitty. In Russia, it's fucking shitty. Leon Trotsky was like, you know what? Fuck this motherfucker. Peter the Great motherfucker. He just took power. He's an illegitimate motherfucking leader. Nobody elected him. And for what? He don't even care if the people are going to be fed. Trotsky said Stalin betrayed the revolution, which he fucking did. Fuck Stalin, that motherfucking genocidal maniac. Only good thing he did was stop the goddamn Nazis. And then the St. Basils Cathedral. The only decent thing, I think, Ivan the Terrible or Peter the Grape or Catherine the Grape. I want to say Ivan the Terrible. The only thing he did was commission the St. Basils Cathedral, which is, when I think of fucking Moscow and Russia, that colorful fucking ice cream dome sort of, church thing. It's beautiful. All them beautiful colors and shit, and still, gorgeous colors today. So if I was just to judge him based on the architecture of St. Basil's Cathedral, But I looked at other Russia. There's like skyscrapers there. There's skyscrapers in Ukraine. Ukraine is in a third world fucking country. There are skyscrapers there. So I think of Ukraine more like Eastern Kentucky. It's not like, the bee's knees of, end all be all. But fuck, I've only walked through, goddamn Chicago and New York City. I've never been to LA. So, and then these big ass cities are, easy targets for these motherfucking bombers and shit. So, I don't know if that shit's healthy anyways, being packed in like sardines. Can we put 17 billion people right here on this little dot? Yep. All right, good. Good. Let's put 17 billion right there. It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of fucking eaters, a lot of shitters, a lot of pissers, a lot of pissers and shitters. But Victor Hugo wasn't in the, nor Orson Welles, nor Leif Erikson. They were not beat up and tortured in Peter the Grape's gulag in Petersburg. So, yeah, I guess you could be great without having to get beat up and tortured by Peter the Grape's fucking Russian Bastille, prison guard, motherfucking fascist Nazi fucks. After Dostoevsky gets beat up in prison for being a communist, his novels are hostile to liberals. After he survived the line, he gets. They were gonna fucking shoot him, but they were like, we'll give him a break. Then he goes to jail for 4 years and for socialism. He goes to jail, goes to the gulag in Siberia for 4 years. And then writes these novels against socialism like a fucking prick. Leif Erikson discovered America. The Vikings discovered America, not goddamn Columbus. You motherfuckers been celebrating Columbus. It was the fucking Vikings.